And a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you into another exclusive edition of the UT Southern Firehawk Coaches Show, presented as always by the fine folks at Tycon Excavating and Carton Distributing right here in Pulaski. On the north end of the downtown historic Pulaski Square, Wade Neely sitting in the saddle, Trent Maxwell to my left. Brother Trent, another edition of the Firehawk Coaches Show. We've got a great one on tap tonight. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you? It's been a wild week, a lot of action. All sports had a pretty big week last week, so we got a bunch to recap and then push forward with Coach Riddle here in a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to speak to the main man himself, none other than Mr. Bill Riddle. He is the men and women's tennis coach here at the University of Tennessee Southern. And the tennis team, Trent, we've talked about there's so many sports coming up in the spring. Tennis team gets kicked off. First serve for them going to come up this Friday. They have matches on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so they start off with a bang.
Yeah, big weekend running right into it. They just hit go, straight tires to the concrete and roll with it. There's no slowing down once they get going, and that's one of the things that's crazy about tennis and some of these sports that just play in the spring is once their season gets rolling, there's never an off weekend. Like I was looking the next for me with working the next 5 weekends, I'm gonna be somewhere. It's just bang, 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 and then after 3 of them, I'm going to be gone for the cheer team for a while. So it's going to be a very busy time for me coming up.
No doubt about it. We know you'll be busy, but we appreciate you making some time for us here on a Monday. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, we're presented by Carton Distributing and Tycon Excavating. And Trent, let's dive right in.
Yep.
I'm sans laptop tonight, but I'm going to pull up the trusty UT Southern website here, utsfirehawks.com. And let's just kind of backtrack, kind of like we always do, but let's walk back. You and I were in this same seat with the same setup at Kathy's Tavern and Grill last Monday night, and we said the Firehawk, the men in particular, needed to win one of 2 games Thursday, Saturday. They got the win early on Thursday and then suffered a real heartbreaker on Saturday. Kind of just walk us through men and women's basketball last week.
So we'll start with the women's. The women's dropped 2 this past week. Very 2 rough games. Both of them were played well, like we said. They're right there to just, at the last couple of minutes of the game, the other team is able to pull away, which is, heartbreaking to see because our girls are right there having chances to win. They just seems to just slowly slip out of their grasp when it goes down to the end. One thing that could be is, the only having 7 players right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, the injury bug has been just a big factor for them. Next week we get a player back, but also this week we lost another player. Maybe we haven't. Stuff hasn't came in yet. Hopefully, Rachel Babiker took a rough little fall. Hopefully, best wishes for her that everything comes back well. Very rough for them. But with those 2 losses this week, that has set them up where they will be on the road first round of the tournament.
Yeah.
So that's a tough thing going in, in our conference, having to play a away game for the first round of the tournament. Then we can switch over to the men's side. Big win Thursday against Shawnee State, and Shawnee State's only 2 years out of winning a national championship.
Yeah.
So anytime you play them, it's going to be just a all-out battle. And it was, like I said, Thursday was nice. And I want to say we went in, I think it was 7 points, I believe, 5-7. It was a tight game all the way around. And just at the very end, our guys were able to, hold it together and hold off the little surge that Shawnee State was putting on at the end. Fast forward to Saturday, the guys, tough start, little sluggish, little slow start for the guys. They ended up being down 15 points with about 7 minutes remaining. And with that, Coach Dugan took a timeout, and the guys made a big push, brought it back to 1, and then slowly slipped away, ended up losing by 3, had a chance to tie it at the end.
Yep.
Very close shot, just rimmed out. A valiant attempt to come back. It was, like I said, when you're down 15 with 7 minutes left, especially with this conference and everybody, how just amazingly talented each team is. And they lost to a Pikeville team who just beat Freed Hardeman last week. And, Freed's leading the conference right now. So it's tight win. Right now, what it is the men's team, with their going into the end of the season, they're stuck in the little third-place battle still. They've got somewhat of an upper hand, but they also have the top 2 teams in the conference that they got to play. So when I was talking with Coach Dugan earlier today, he said that the guys need to be, in on a 4-1 record to for sure secure the third-place spot. But, picking up one big win against either Freed or who's the other? I can't think of the other one right now. Name slips my mind, but picking up one of those 2 big wins would be massive here at the end, and then just getting the jobs done with the teams that we've already had, been able to handle the job. So hopefully the guys will be able to pull it out and get that third, or we don't want to settle for 4th, but 4th gets you a bye in the first round also. So you'll take whatever you can get. You know what I'm.
Yeah, you'd love to jump up to that 3 spot. And to me, I'm looking kind of at the box score. Again, beside Trent Maxwell here, Wayne Neely, glad to be with you. We're at Kathy's Tavern and Grill for the UT Southern Firehawk Coaches Show. And Trent, I mean, the Firehawks are 15-7 on the season, but 6 of those losses are in league play. And we talk about night in, night out. If you do not bring your A game, anybody can be beaten on any given night. And we saw a very good Pikeville team. It was a very evenly matched ball game coming in. It was a valiant comeback attempt by the Firehawks, like you said. And they're kind of set up nicely. And to me, the fun part about watching the team in action this year, whether I'm at the CAC or whether I'm checking it out online, seems like someone has the capability of showing up every night, someone different, and making plays in the game.
Yeah, with that, you never know what guy is going to have a good night for you. I mean, you know, it's one thing with having a single player that is expected to score 30 points a game is, you know, what if they have an off night, then your team's out of it. But we can go 6, 7 deep in the bench, and somebody can still have it. A couple weeks ago, C.J. Greer stepped up and had a career night of 24. Then on Thursday, Kendall Wright had his big night. I want to say he had 22. So, I mean, just like that, it's crazy seeing guys that can come off the bench, stay ready. The next man up attitude is just crazy with these guys. They all fight together, play together, and like you said, the scoring is just so evenly split. You know, there's never one guy that just usually is dominating night in and night out for them, which is wonderful to see. But one thing about our guys is it seems like everybody makes an extra pass. I hear Dugan yelling, like multiple guys each week, take the shot, because guys are wanting to get their next guy even more open. And sometimes a little bit of overpassing can hurt you, but the guys got some good chemistry going forth, and we're ready to see them wrap up the season well.
Yeah, we'll see basketball get back in action sooner rather than later. And am I checking this out right there? They have a bye week this week, although the women are going to play a non-con game versus Welch. With all due respect to Welch, yes. But with all due respect to Welch on Thursday, should be a chance, even depleted, for the Firehawks to get back in the win column.
Yeah. I believe earlier in the season the Firehawks went up there and we were hurt then also, and were able to pull out a big victory. So it's a good thing for to get the women rolling, get some confidence built up into Saturday, and get a good momentum. It's a good momentum game to get the feel of getting a nice win back under the belt.
Absolutely, and you're right. In action Saturday, not just versus anybody. They got Cumberland coming in. That is a long-time rivalry. The Phoenix will come down from Lebanon, Tennessee. The CAC should be jumping anytime those two teams. We know the women have had great success over the years, but the men's team for Cumberland kind of catching new life over the last couple of seasons. It'll be a fun matchup at home on Saturday.
Yeah, it'll be a great matchup. And one thing, a couple former Firehawks have already hit me up and said they're going to be in the building. And Connor Peach said he's coming down this weekend. Hadn't seen him in a couple years, so it'd be good to get him back. His cousin actually plays for Cumberland, and she's one of the starters for us. So hate seeing that we brought her in.
That pains me.
Especially being family, but it'll be good to have him back. Hopefully he'll be wearing the right colors when he comes into town, though.
Yeah, we need to make sure he's decked out in proper Firehawk gear. Hey, also, I'm looking at the calendar here on Saturday. We mentioned we're going to speak to Bill Riddle. He's the tennis coach, men and women's tennis head coach here. But also, don't blink, folks, but baseball season kicks off this weekend as well at home out at East Campus. Yeah, baseball's getting going. It's going to be picking up quick. I think we have a lot of home series to start off the year, which is kind of nuts. It seems like in my past time being here, it's been mostly later in the season. I feel like we're packing in all the home games, but it seems like right now we've got our first 3 weekend series are at home this year. So that'll be fun. I know that Coach Hill's got his guys ready. I see him every day with Coach Milan in the gym, either working out, swimming, doing something. He's got some kind of crazy workout plan for him. So I know those guys are in top physical condition and ready to get going, just itching to get going. So. Absolutely. And so we got basketball kind of slowly trickling down to the end of the regular season. We've already had bowling and Clay Target on in recent weeks. And we're going to hear from Bill Riddle on the other side of this timeout. And I don't know if you've spent much time with Brother Bill Riddle, but not only is he a man, a myth, but he's also a legend. Now, whether that's in his own mind or not, some would argue, but
he's to be determined, right?
To be determined, but he's very fun, he's very entertaining, and if nothing else, he's very energetic and he's passionate about his program. And the Firehawks have started to creep back up. They took a couple years where they were kind of dwindling as a program, but now they're getting some national recognition, receiving votes. We're ranked at times on both sides last year, so this is 2 programs on the up and up.
Yeah, we can't wait to talk to Coach Riddle. And, you got to know he's real when his Instagram account is Bill Riddle Official. So you've got to know that he he's going to bring it every time when you get to speak to him. You know, I watch his videos and get to see all of his workouts and all of the things he does with tennis, which is something crazy to me. It's a sport that I've never been worth anything at, so it's something that I am, ready to hear about, learn more about, and can't wait to have him on here in a second.
Should be good. Thank you, Trent, for the breakdown. Trent and I are going to take a quick time out, folks. We do want to remind you that you are watching the UT Southern Firehawk Coaches Show. We are live here every single Monday night at Kathy's Tavern and Grill on the north end of the downtown historic Pulaski Square. We have a live show that you can also obviously check out on our Pulaski Citizen Live YouTube channel. And as always, we're brought to you by the fine folks at Carton Distributing and Tycon Excavating. When we come back, Trent and I will sit down with Mr. Riddle himself. Bill Riddle joins us on the other side of this break on the Firehawk Coaches Show here at Kathy's Tavern and Grill.
The UT Southern Coaches Show is brought to you in part each week by Tycon Excavating, also a proud supporter of the Giles County Trail of Tears. The Trail of Tears Memorial Interpretive Center in Pulaski pays tribute to the plight of the Native Americans who were forced to travel through Tennessee for relocation to Arkansas and Oklahoma. With Pulaski situated at the point where the two routes crossed, the Interpretive Center is located just off East College Street, nestled right between the two trails. There is much more information to be found at the website gcptrailoftears.com.
Citizen Media is where you are. Online with PulaskiCitizen.com. On social media with Facebook and Instagram. On your phone with sporting and community event streaming. On your email with daily updates. Or right in your living room with the Pulaski Citizen newspaper. Giles Countyans have turned to the Pulaski Citizen for exclusive Giles County information, events, and entertainment for nearly 170 years. That hasn't changed, but it has grown. Citizen Media. We're not just the newspaper anymore.
The University of Tennessee Week by Carton Distributing of Pulaski. Founded in 1934, Carton Distributing is a wholesale beverage distributor including Budweiser beer, as well as ale, porter, and other malt beverages. Carton Distributing is a family-owned local business that proudly supports the people, organizations, and institutions of Pulaski and Giles County. Please remember to enjoy responsibly.
All of us at Pulaski Citizen Live are thrilled to share these local sporting events with our listeners. Pulaski Citizen Live is a fun and exciting way for us to enhance our coverage of local athletes game by game and play by play. Wade Neely, Chris Bledsoe, Bark Mize, Cody Derryberry, and Jennifer Hawkins are some of the most recognized voices of local athletics over the past decade. You can hear their calls of the action each week exclusively on Pulaski Citizen Live. We're just getting started and we welcome you along for the ride on Pulaski Citizen Live.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Second segment here on the Pulaski Citizen Live exclusive Firehawk Coaches Show presented by Tycon Excavating and Carton Distributing. We are live each and every single Monday night here at Kathy's Tavern and Grill on the north end of the downtown historic Pulaski Square. Alongside Trent Maxwell, I'm Wade Neely, and we have also been joined by the man himself. He is Mr. Bill Riddle. This has been a long time coming, but it's finally happening. Mr. Riddle, good evening. How you doing?
Well, it's great to be here with you guys. Big crowd tonight, so excited about that. So
you're the best. He's got a supporter section. Yeah. We give him props with that. And Coach, let's just dive right in. I'm glancing through your bio here, and your fifth season. I've blinked. I don't know if you've blinked, but holy moly, it seems like you just started just a couple of months ago, but it's already 5 years have flown by.
It really has gone really fast. We had a little pandemic in the middle of that, and then a change from one school to another, but it's been a great ride so far, and just love the people here and really excited about it.
You have done a fantastic job of this was a tennis program. We had Coach Sevier, we had Coach Rieger there for a little bit. The tennis team had slightly grown, perhaps a little stagnant, but from an outsider's perspective, I've been very impressed. You guys have, like several coaches we've had on this program, Trent can testify to that, kind of restoring a little bit of the pride from a once prideful program.
Yeah, I think it's just, we're getting out there in the community. We're bringing in, really good players, really good people, and just trying to be, good community citizens and just put something really good on the court as well. So.
You have continued to kind of raise the bar to kind of elevate the program. And Trent and I touched on it in our opening segment. You guys get things underway this weekend.
Right.
I certainly Did not anticipate maybe necessarily that early of a start, but I'm very impressed that you guys are getting underway, already getting some reps in February, because you're a sport that will stretch out throughout the spring semester.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go till the middle of April with the conference, and then, the Nationals, hopefully we're there. That's in May. But, we kick off on Friday. The girls are playing a doubleheader. We go to Decatur. They'll play 2 matches there. On Saturday, we'll go with the guys to Birmingham. It's always heated matches with Birmingham Southern and a second match as well. And then Sunday night, we'll go indoors at Vanderbilt University to play Tennessee State, which last year was a barn burner of a match. Came down to a 4-3 win for us and kind of left a bad taste in their mouth, and I know they're gunning for us.
Yeah, and with what we were already talking about, the up and up of the team and rising it back to what was expected, what goes in with your recruiting in tennis? Like, where do you start and how do you bring in these high-class, talented players?
Well, I mean, I take a little bit different approach nowadays than I did, say, 25 years ago, 30 years ago when I got into college coaching. I mean, first and foremost, we try to just put really good people out there. I want a good person who's going to go to class, do the work in the classroom, be a good teammate, and then also put the effort into being a good tennis player. And so I go that route, and I use my network of coaches that I've built up over the years, literally all over the world, to just try to find people that want to play tennis. And then from there, if I do my job right, put you in the right spots on the court, help you along the way, give you what I've learned over the last 35 years, we'll get to a good spot on the court, But a lot of times it just takes just good people first.
Yeah, and one big thing that we keep reiterating is character and giving back to the community. You have some upcoming things in the community coming up, don't you? You got some community outreach things to spark the tennis interest in the Giles County area?
Yeah, one of the things we've been working on for a while with Claire Paul and some of the other people on the campus is we're starting an Acing for Autism tennis program, introducing tennis to kids that are on the spectrum. And so I'm really, really excited about that. It's been a work in progress, but that's coming along. We've got some other school visits we've done, and we're going to continue to do those. So to me, that's really, really important because it puts us not only out there in front of the public, but also it allows our players to learn a new skill set. Mm-hmm. So when they leave school here, they're ready to jump on a court or jump in front of a group of people, whether it be in tennis or any other atmosphere, and be a leader, hopefully.
Yeah, and you in particular, and obviously your program has embodied that, it seems like, during your 5-year tenure. I'm curious also, we ask almost every coach this, but can you put it in perspective? We came from a really competitive conference in the southern states. You go way old school to Trans-South, which you obviously had some experience in. Coaching at Cumberland there was really competitive. Where does the Mid-South rank in terms of the national perspective? And then how do you guys try and kind of plug into that puzzle there, because we know obviously a conference championship is the ultimate goal?
Well, I mean, I can't speak to the other sports, but I can tell you for certainty that the two toughest conferences out there are Mid-South and the southern states when it comes to tennis. You just look at the national rankings, and you've got multiple teams from both of those conferences there. So we're kind of going back into the fire from the fire.
Yep.
And it's every day you got to bring it. So, I mean, it's good and bad. If you're in the top 3-4 teams in that conference, you're going to be a top nationally ranked team, and I think that's good for us. So we're looking forward to being back in the southern states next year.
Yeah, that'll be coming up next season.
Right.
Still got one more here in the Mid-South. We're speaking to Bill Riddle here on the Firehawk Coaches Show. We're presented by Tycon Excavating and Cardin Distributing every Monday night here at Kathy's Tavern and Grill. And, Bill, I'm curious, one particular realm, we talked a little bit about it with some of our other individual sports. Right. You sometimes see that imbalance between the men and the women's program, and we were kind of teetering on that with the women's tennis program just a few years ago. If you would kind of elaborate on maybe how proud you are of where we are now with our women's tennis program.
Well, I mean, I think that's probably one of the biggest strides, and I'll touch on a couple of milestones for the guys, but as well. But for the women, I mean, there was a time when we had 5 bodies out there, and we were struggling to put the team back together, and we fought through some tough adversities, and now consecutively the last season and we started the season this year, ranked receiving votes. So we've got a national presence now. We've got 9 solid players on the team, great girls who want to compete. They want to play, and I think they bought into what we're trying to do. And so I see us only continuing to make strides that way. And I hear from other coaches that, and I've told the players this as well, that every other coach, they're looking at us. Where they can't look beyond us. They have to circle that date on the calendar because they know that we're right there. You slip up a little bit, we're going to be on top of you.
Yeah, and with what you've said, going into the Mid-South, events are going to start quick. You guys are rolling right into it. We start this weekend, and then bounce back. What goes on after this weekend? What are the first few upcoming events after this weekend?
So then the following week, we've got another doubleheader. We'll play Christian Brothers and Itawamba Community College, which is always a solid community college program that's out there. We'll play them again. We go to Rhodes. So, February is kind of hit and miss sometimes to try to get as many matches in as we can just to get ready, because once we get into March, we're into the conference schedule, and we've got to be on our A game because there are really no slackers right there. We've got to bring it every week.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a little quick turn here. Yeah. So we've been talking mainly team and upcoming stuff.
Right.
So on your social media, it says social promoter and entertainer. What does this mean, and what do you do, in progression with getting the game of tennis out to more people?
Well, you can't believe what you see on social media, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm also a French model, right? So, but the truth is, I love what I do. Being in tennis as a coach, as a promoter, just trying to grow the sport in itself. For me, it's kind of all-encompassing. We can't expect to be a good team if we don't have fans, if we're not engaged in the community, if we're not connected to the next group of kids that are kind of coming up, and to me it's all connected right there. And so for me, it's always been about just promoting a great sport that you can play for a lifetime.
Yep.
I know a ton of people that are in their 80s still playing tennis. Don't know that many football or basketball players that are in their 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a great sport that you can play forever. And one of the biggest things for me is if these young men and women leave college tennis and they continue to play well into their adulthood, and they get their kids involved because they had a great experience, well, then we're winning. So.
Absolutely. And Coach Riddle, final couple questions on my end. One in particular kind of went in that vein of community presence. Speak to maybe the tennis community that was already established outside of the campus here. Seems like we've a smaller town, not necessarily the best of facilities. We're certainly, we'll talk about that in a little bit, some improvements coming to the courts over there at Magazine. But there was already a little pocket of tennis supporters and community already pre-established before you arrived here.
Yeah, you mentioned Coach Severe. I remember when Charlie, her son, played, and I coached against him. And there's always been this pocket of tennis players down here in the Pulaski area, south of Nashville, that kind of got overlooked. But it's solid tennis down here. And I think, with us trying to be good role models and leaders in the community and just getting the word out there that we've got a program, I think that helps, connecting with the schools. Jenny Wilson, who played for us back when we were Martin Methodist, is a teacher here in the community. When we can connect with those former players and get their kids from the schools involved, once again, we're building on not only what we're trying to do this semester or this season, but what's going to happen 3 or 5 years down the road.
Yeah, and since you brought up the building,
right? So
can we talk about what improvements and stuff we have coming for the tennis team here?
Yeah, that has been a long work in progress, and Robbie Shelton and the folks over there, and Brandy and everyone who's been involved with trying to put this together. It's really finally coming together. We got a real sizable donation, and working with the city and the town of Pulaski, the courts at Magazine Row Park will be redone at the end of this season. So we'll have 4 new courts right there where the existing courts are, and then they're going to build 2 more on the other side of the restrooms. So we'll have a college facility where we can not only play our matches, but then also, once again, I go back to this, connect with the community and do things with the high school team, do things with kids that are coming up, to get them engaged with playing the sport of tennis.
Yeah, and it's like you said, something that you can play well into an advanced age. Another interesting realm of your expertise in terms of the tennis community is the sport of pickleball. A lot of folks have been asking me, and I only know just a little bit. I played it a couple times. I was fortunate enough to play in your charity tournament a couple years ago. Bill even put a little bit of a whooping on me. That's okay, though. I'm willing to own up to that. But if somebody approaches me and says, what is pickleball? I think I have a pretty good summation, but I'm just curious how you maybe explain that to someone, because this is one of the hottest games in the whole country, if not the whole world right now.
Well, I mean, the numbers here just in the States have surpassed this past year what golf numbers are. So you got more people playing pickleball than you have playing golf. And those aren't my numbers. That's what the industry's saying. And so and I think during the pandemic, when we were at home, and pickleball is one of these things, it's kind of a cross between ping pong, tennis, maybe a little racquetball thrown in there. It's just a combination of multiple sports, racket sports. And it has such a low barrier of like entry, and I mean, anybody can play. Given an hour of kind of hitting the ball around, you kind of figure it out. I mean, the scoring is the hardest thing to do.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a game where you get out there and you play. And what's interesting is that whether you're a former tennis player or just somebody who's looking for some activity, you can start and be playing in no time, and it gives you a sense of community. There's a group of people out there that's going to be playing, and Pulaski has a great group of people that are playing pickleball. It's way bigger than I think probably people realize, but it's growing. It's going to explode. There's a professional league out there. They're putting money into it, so you never know.
It will be interesting to see, and just kind of to put it into context, I was with our good buddy Mr. Guy Schaefer a couple weekends ago over at Swanee for the UT Southern swim meet, and we walk into their general facility, and I couldn't hear any of the swimming action, but I immediately recognized the paddle sound of the pickleball. They had 2 or 3, 4 courts going just on an idle Saturday, and it seems like that's an easy pickup sport, and it kind of does tie into tennis too, and like you said, it seems like a lot of folks here in the community are really buying into it.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of people that have their own courts in their backyards here. It's just something that is fun. A family can do it, and I think that's where a lot of it started during the pandemic. People could do it with their families, and open play and just casual. And you know what? I mean, you can have a couple of adult beverages while you're doing it and have a good time.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to switch back to another little thing. I'm the switcheroo.
You're
I'm
the
the one
switcheroo,
that likes
okay.
to switch things up, change it a little bit. So we already asked, upcoming events. Can you give us a couple dates moving forward, so maybe some of our followers can see if they can check in, see some stats online, and keep follow up with the team. Yeah, even home matches coming up.
Well, I mean, right now until we get the courts done at Magazine Road Park, we're going to be playing most of our home matches either in Nashville. We're going to go up to Hendersonville, play at Memorial Park up there. We've got a number of matches in Decatur at Jimmy John's Tennis Center down there. So that's kind of the most local we've got, other than playing a few at Vanderbilt. I mean, I think the biggest thing that you do is follow us, UTS Tennis on Instagram. I mean, that'd be great. Follow us on Facebook. But we've got, like I said, this weekend. Then next Friday we'll be back in Decatur on I think that's the 22nd. And then we kind of a little bit of a lull there until we get into March.
Bill Riddle, men and women's tennis coach here at UT Southern. I guess final question on my end. You travel the globe covering the sport, entertaining folks. And the Australian Opens, that's one of my favorite sporting events, bar none, to watch, mainly because it gives me an excuse to stay up late, and just watch. So, but I'm curious. We've got this giant – a lot of folks probably are wondering what this giant racket here is for. And I'm curious, you versus Djokovic, how many points with this racket could you take off of him and maybe versus a regular racket? Could you even get one on the Joker?
I might get a couple of free serves because that's all I got nowadays at this advanced age of mine. But that dude is just a whole nother level as far as fitness and talent and whatnot. But you can't doubt the giant racket. I mean, you got to go giant racket on the return, and bump one back.
Trent and I will get out and maybe give it a whirl, a little serve and volley, go maybe a little throwback on them there. And I'm curious, as we kind of come to a close, Final point that I wanted to maybe ask your opinion on, we see it at soccer a lot and maybe even in baseball. It seems like the talent level, the NAIA sometimes maybe gets diminished in terms of viewpoint to the layperson, but to me it seems like we have some elite level tennis players at the NAIA level. Well, and I'm just curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, for sure you do. I mean, because you're able to take players that maybe had been away from high school, maybe had played and trained a little bit, maybe especially in Europe or South America. They've been they're a little older. They've got some experience. I mean, we saw that at the ITA Cup. We had two of our guys, which I got to brag on, Nick and Coop, making it to the doubles ITA Cup in Rome, Georgia, back in the fall. I mean, you see guys that are there that are 26 years old that have a lot of experience, and they're out there just balling. And I think that's one of the things that you see at the NAIA level is just there's a lot of talent all over the globe in tennis, and they're looking for a chance to come to the United States. NAIA is a perfect vehicle for them to get in and play their sport and get a great education. So
yeah, and that was kind of a topic we especially talked with Clay Target coach Chrisman and Coach Learn, the bowling coach. How can these young men and women use maybe the University of Tennessee Southern, obviously to get a degree, which is first and foremost, right, but yeah, maybe potentially launch that next step, that professional career? We know it's harder potentially, you mentioned football, obviously not a sport at the college, but basketball and some others, it really, really seems tough to crack into, but it seems like tennis is a sport we have seen some players go on to the pros.
You've definitely seen players that maybe start at the NAIA level, move on to Division I somewhere, and then progress. I mean, and nowadays especially, college is a perfect pathway to the pros because you're getting a ton of match play. And that's the thing that these players that are trying to make it on the tour, they typically are lacking. They not traveled enough. They don't know how to manage their time and emotions and energies when they're traveling the globe. But then also, they're just lacking in match play. There's no substitute for match play. And in college, you're going to get a ton of that every day at practice with your teammates. You're going to get that every time you step on the court for a college match at every level.
Final question. It's fitting that it's iHeart UT Southern Week. We've got you on here. What does that week kind of mean to you? I know this is a big time on campus, and I'm just curious, as we get ready to close it out with you, what the future of this tennis team could potentially look like.
Well, I mean, I think one of the pieces that we've been missing is facilities. Once we're able to complete that, I mean, that's going to help us tremendously, not only with recruiting, but then what we're able to do from a practice standpoint. I mean, I've seen a huge change. And when I started here 5 years ago, when we were Martin Methodist, and what the UT system has brought to us, I really feel like the sky's the limit. I mean, we've got a great UT system behind us. Name recognition, I mean, there's a power in the orange, power in the UT, and I just feel like that's one of the things that we might have been missing years ago, and I'm super excited about it and ready for the next 5 years.
Absolutely. We are always excited to have you, Bill. You have officially made your debut here on the UT Southern Firehawk Coaches Show. Welcome back anytime, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you to Bill Riddle, our special guest tonight. Thanks to our crowd here on hand. We're gonna take a quick time out. When we come back, Trent and I will rejoin you guys. We will recap a little bit what we heard from Coach Riddle, and we'll send it out with a preview of the weekend's events. And there are a lot, folks. Stay tuned. Final segment coming up on the UT Southern Firehawk Coaches Show at Kathy's Tavern and Grill, and presented by Cardin Distributing and Tycon Excavating. Back right after this.
There we go.
Do you want to talk to Nick now? He's one of the professional double tears.
The Trail of Tears Memorial Interpretive Center in Pulaski pays tribute to the plight of the Native Americans who were forced to travel through Tennessee for relocation to Arkansas and Oklahoma. The Giles County Trail of Tears is currently raising funds for a new sign, selling chances on a basket full of Native American goodies. Visit the Giles County Trail of Tears Facebook page or Instagram to view the contents of the basket. Call 931-478-0315 for more information, or visit gcptrailoftears.com.
Pulaski Citizen Live is doing Giles County sports and community events like they've never been done before. Video of local government meetings and community events, as well as streaming of high school, middle school, and youth league games. Football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, and more are all on the PCL schedule throughout the year. Get your game called by the most recognized sports announcers in Giles County. So are you looking for your next meeting, event, or game? Make sure you tune in to Pulaski Citizen Live on YouTube and on the Mixler app.
The University of Tennessee Southern Coaches Show is brought to you in part each week by Cardin Distributing of Pulaski. Founded in 1934, Cardin Distributing is a wholesale beverage distributor including Budweiser beer as well as ale, porter, and other malt beverages. Cardin Distributing is a family-owned local business that proudly supports the people, organizations, and institutions of Pulaski and Giles County. Please remember to enjoy responsibly.
Final segment, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the UT Southern Firehawk Coaches Show, presented each and every Monday night by the fine folks at Cardin Distributing and Tycon Excavating. Thanks to Firehawk men and women's tennis head coach Bill Riddle. Thanks to our great crowd on hand here tonight supporting the show. And Trent Maxwell, man, I knew it was going to be a great segment with Coach Riddle, but he really ran the gamut. We talked a lot about the program. We talked about the community aspect. And we snuck in a few questions, and he don't know it yet, but I'm taking this sweet racket home with me.
Isn't it nice whenever we have somebody come on the show and we don't have to do the most talking?
Right.
You know, it's nice. You know, sometimes I feel like we're up here prying and, you know, begging to get answers, but it's wonderful to have guys like Coach Riddle come on here and just take off with it. You know, we give a quick lead question, and then next thing you know, if we're 15 minutes down the line still talking about the same question, which just makes me so excited to see people that are involved in the athletic department at UT Southern just be so passionate about what they're doing. It's something great to see. It's great to have guys like that in the program and, you know, being able to bring them on the show. Absolutely. And speaking of passion, I Heart UT Southern Week is off and running. I'm curious to you, from an insider's perspective, being right there in the heart of campus, pardon my pun there, how big of an event is this, and what does this mean to you guys being right there in the mix like you are? Oh, it's massive. So it's going full-fledged. They made sure I've been caught 3 and 4 times. You know, just when I'm running errands on campus, somebody be like, "Hey, fill out a poster for us here. Fill out a poster." So, you know, there's multiple things to be thankful for at UT Southern. So I've filled out something different every time I get a page, and it's awesome to have that going around and just being able to see what everybody is thankful for and, you know, celebrating that the college has brought to us. Absolutely, and I can speak on behalf of all of us at the Pulaski Citizen and just as a lifelong Giles County, and this is a tremendous treasure having an institution like UT Southern right here in southern Middle Tennessee, being a part of the UT system, having great facilities, having great teams, having great student athletes and coaches. You're really, we are all really blessed with a very fortunate experience, and it seems like it's always, we're just trying to raise that bar just even higher, which to me speaks volumes about the campus. Yeah, like you say, the bar keeps getting raised higher and higher, and, you know, things keep getting better and better there. It seems like our sports teams each year are just improving and improving, and, you know, that's one thing I have to say, it has to come from the coaches. It has to come from within the department, you know. And what I'm saying right now is we've got a great group of coaches so far. Everybody we've talked to is, like we said, so passionate, so much behind this growth, and that's one thing that's great for the city of Pulaski and Giles County is I feel like the UT system is just a symbol of the growth that's happening in this area, and this is going to bring in more things and more opportunities into this county. Exciting times on campus. We can see it from afar. You can speak to it internally. Tremendous growth going on here, and a chance. Check out more details. We put the press release online at PulaskiCitizen.com last week. You can also go to UTSFirehawks.com, read all about it there, utsouthern.edu. Trent, real quick, let's do a recap, preview, I should say, of the upcoming. It's going to be busy. February, which is traditionally one of the busiest, if not the busiest months on the calendar. Almost every sport on the planet is doing something in some shape, form, or fashion. But the only official contest on Thursday, the women's basketball team, they are at home, and they've got a winnable game versus a Welch team that comes in. And even though the Firehawks are a little wounded, they got a chance to get back in the win column. Yeah, great chance for them to get back rolling, get everything back moving on Thursday. I know that Coach Billy's got those girls ready to roll. Then we can take a step to Friday. Then we've got, looks like as we're going through it, it seems like that is a long list of games we've got going on Friday. We've got bowling going to be in Indianapolis, like we said with Coach Learn talking to us a couple weeks ago. We've got tennis going down to play Steed State. Then we also have baseball starting on Saturday. Oh, I didn't even know that started Saturday. I thought Friday. Starting Friday. I thought that was a Saturday, Sunday, so there's another thing I'm going to be doing Friday. Good thing we caught you up to speed, my friend. Yeah, but still, Friday night, hopefully getting to be back on the mic with you. Can't wait for that. Yeah, so busy Friday moving forward. And we got Saturday, like we said, we've got tennis going to be involved on Saturday. We've got basketball in the CAC. We got men's and women's basketball. We've got baseball going on. And also I want to say I heard that the cheer team this weekend is having to go somewhere also. They're doing it virtual, so they're not going anywhere, so they'll be able to film it before and stuff.
Right.
So that's nice that they get to do it like that, but that's another thing that's going to be going on Saturday. Also, we forgot to shout them out earlier. They got a duels win this weekend in a dual competition up at the University of Cumberland. So shout out to our cheer team and Coach Key being able to get that rolling and get themselves ready going into their conference championship in the next 2 weeks.
Absolutely. It is a busy time. UTSFirehawks.com is your one-stop destination for all things Firehawks athletics. And Trent, another great show tonight, man.
Yeah.
It was fun having the energy of the crowd in here tonight. We had a lot of tennis supporters. A lot of student athletes were here cheering on Coach Riddle. You could tell they're genuinely excited to play for Coach Riddle, but also they're excited to really get their season underway as they kick it off this weekend.
Yeah, they're an energetic group. You see them at the soccer games, you see them at the basketball games. So it stinks that they're not having anything near campus this year, which is a little bit of a drive, but we'll be supporting from afar, that's for sure. I know that they're going to take that energy and be able to have a great season. Both men's and women's teams get going in action this weekend.
Absolutely. Trent, thank you, my friend.
Sir, Wade, thank you.
Quick rundown on our calendar, folks. A reminder, every Monday night we are here at Kathy's Tavern and Grill. We're on the north end of the downtown historic Pulaski Square. That is every Monday night at 6 p.m. You can come down. You can grab a bite to eat. You can get something to drink. You can watch the show live, or you can do like you're doing right now, watch it live on PCL YouTube channel. You can also check this out on demand. We'll have this uploaded as soon as we get done here. But that's not all that we have on the calendar this week. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Giles County is on the road at Lewis County. They're back in district play. The boys are riding an 8-game win streak, playing at an extremely high level. The ladies are 2-2 in district play. Big games. Mark Mize and yours truly will have the call of that game tomorrow. Richland is hosting Santa Fe, your old stomping grounds up there in Murray County. Richland will be at home on Tuesday trying to get some mojo rolling down the stretch. The men suffered a loss at Wayne County last week, but they bounced back versus Collinwood on Friday, as did the ladies. And then speaking of Friday, Richland's at home versus Hampshire. Both squads are at home. And you and I may lock forces on Friday as Giles County hosts Loretto. Big game. Giles County, the boys, depending on how things shake out on Tuesday night, they could potentially win the district on Friday at home.
That would be great to see. Couple little injury bug they had earlier in the season, but now that they've got all the guys back on full thing, they're moving well, which is a great start to, as I've seen the crowd, the Campbell era down here in Giles County. So it's wonderful to see. I know they're ready to get rolling. Be a big thing to go ahead and get that first place spot this early. It is wrapping up for them, but they still have 2 weeks left of regular season play. So big time for them. Big game coming up on Friday.
It's going to be fun, folks. Thank you again for tuning in to the UT Southern Firehawk Coaches Show. He's Trent Maxwell. I'm Wayne Neely. Thank you to Guy Schaefer producing behind the scenes tonight. Thank you to our publisher, Mr. Scott Stewart. And thank you to our guest, men and women's tennis head coach, Bill Riddle. Wayne Neely saying so long. We will see you next Monday night right here at Kathy's Tavern and Grill for another edition of the UT Southern Firehawk Coaches Show presented by Carden Distributing and Tycon Excavating. Good night from Kathy's Tavern and Grill.